To expect a bad person not to harm others is like expecting fig trees not to secrete juice, babies not to cry, horses not to neigh, the inevitable not to happen. What else could they do with that sort of character? If you're still angry, then get to work on that. Some people resemble the fly, and some the honeybee. When a fly is found in a garden full of flowers with beautiful fragrances, it will ignore the flowers and will go sit on top of some dirt found on the ground. When a bee is found in a room full of dirt, and there is only one flower in a corner, it will ignore the dirt and will go to the flower. Let's avoid saying, "How unlucky I am that this should happen to me." Perhaps say, "How lucky I am that I am not broken by what has happened, and I am not afraid of what is about to happen." For the same blow might have stricken anyone, but not many would have absorbed it without capitulation and complaint. The person who does wrong to themselves. The unjust person is unjust to themselves, making themselves evil. Being mean is foolish. It is for those who haven't yet realized that nobody lives forever. He who sows the seeds of murder and pain cannot reap the joy of love. How ridiculous not to flee from one's own wickedness, which is possible, yet endeavor to flee from another's, which is not. He who fights monsters should see to it that, in the process, he does not become a monster. And if you gaze long enough into an abyss, the abyss will gaze back into you. What you think of yourself is much more important than what others think of you. The best answer to anger is silence. Let no one persuade you, by word or deed, to do or say whatever is not best for you. Look fear in the eye, if you can, and the fear will feel afraid and go away. I judge you unfortunate because you have never lived through misfortune. You have passed through life without an opponent. No one can ever know what you're capable of, not even you. You don't develop courage by being happy in your relationships every day. You develop it by surviving difficult times and challenging adversity. The only thing I know is this: I am full of wounds and still standing on my feet. Hate and fear breed a poison in the blood, which, if continued, affects eyes, ears, nose, and the organs of digestion. Therefore, it is not wise to hear and remember the unkind things others might say about you. Is your cucumber bitter? Throw it away. Are there briars in your path? Turn aside. That is enough. Do not go and say, "Why were things of this sort ever brought into this world?" The oldest, shortest words, yes and no, are those which require the most thought. Begin each day by telling yourself, "Today I shall be meeting with interference, ingratitude, insolence, disloyalty, ill will, and selfishness. All of them due to the offender's ignorance of what is good or evil. But for my part, I have long perceived the nature of good and its nobility, the nature of evil and its meanness, and also the nature of the culprit himself, who is my brother, not in the physical sense, but as a fellow creature similarly endowed with reason and a share of the divine. Therefore, none of those things can injure me, for nobody can implicate me in what is degrading. If you really want to escape the things that harass you, what you're needing is not to be in a different place, but to be a different person. Tranquility comes when you stop caring what they say, or think, or do. Only what you do. If anyone tells you that a certain person speaks ill of you, do not make excuses about what is said of you, but answer, "He was ignorant of my other faults, else he would have not mentioned these alone." Rest satisfied with doing well, and leave others to talk of you as they will. It's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters. The greater the difficulty, the more glory in surmounting it. Good people do not need laws to tell them to act responsibly, while bad people will find a way around them. You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength. The best revenge is not to be like your enemy. An old Cherokee is teaching his grandson about life. "A fight is going on inside me," he said to the boy. "It is a terrible fight, and it is between two wolves. One is evil. He is anger, envy, sorrow, regret, greed, arrogance, self-pity, guilt, resentment, inferiority, superiority, lies, false pride, and ego." He continued, "The other is good. He is joy, peace, love, hope, serenity, humility, kindness, benevolence, empathy, generosity, truth, compassion, and faith." The same fight is going on inside you, and inside every other person too. The grandson thought about it for a minute, and then asked his grandfather, "Which wolf will win?" The old Cherokee simply replied, "The one you feed." It's time you realized that you have something in you more powerful and miraculous than the things that affect you and make you dance like a puppet. Nothing happens to anybody that he is not fitted by nature to bear. There is a mystic law in this world, for if there were not, this world would have been destroyed thousands of years ago. A harsh, inviolable law. In the beginning, evil always triumphs, and in the end, it is always vanquished. Does what's happened keep you from acting with justice, generosity, self-control, sanity, prudence, honesty, humility, straightforwardness, and all other qualities that allow a person's nature to fulfill itself? So remember this principle when something threatens to cause you pain. The thing itself was no misfortune at all. To endure it and prevail is great good fortune. Time is the wisest of all things that are, for it brings everything to light. Respect yourself, the rest will follow. How long are you going to wait before you demand the best for yourself? It is not too late to seek a newer world.